spent hours setting up your shot, adjusting your camera settings, and fiddling with a $50 desk lamp, and the footage still looks like a webcam from 2012. You know you need an upgrade. The problem is your budget has a hard ceiling, and you're stuck staring at a cart full of options, wondering if you should invest in a new camera body, buy better lights, or pay for professional software. Camera manufacturers make this decision feel easy. Their marketing is designed to convince you that the only thing standing between you and a professional-looking video is their newest multi-thousand-dollar flagship sensor. But we need to look at this through a different lens. We're going to use a metric called visible ROI. It's a straightforward comparison. The amount of time or money you put in, measure against the leap in quality your audience actually notices. This diagram shows the disconnect. On the left are the marketing promises, things like 8K resolution and massive megapixel counts. On the right are the actual retention drivers, crisp audio clarity, controlled lighting ratios, and tight pacing. The reality is that over 70% of your audience is watching your work on a 6-inch smartphone screen. On a display that small, marginal improvements in sensor dynamic range or pixel density are essentially invisible to the viewer. Chasing top-tier specs while ignoring the physical environment you shoot in is a financial trap. To fix this, we need a better framework to evaluate our next move. Let's start with the most common upgrade target, the flagship camera body. We'll use the Canon R5 Mark II as our benchmark. Acquiring a body in this tier requires a heavy financial commitment, starting around $4,000 before you even buy a lens to match it. That money does buy technical capability. You get faster autofocus, a bit more highlight recovery, and weather sealing that survives a rainstorm. To weigh these features, let's look at this quadrant chart. The x-axis tracks required investment. The y-axis tracks visible impact. Plotting the flagship camera, it lands in the bottom right corner. Max investment for a small visible bump. Buying this body immediately drains your entire upgrade budget. In return, you get an image that looks marginally better to the average viewer scrolling on their phone. A flagship camera is a refinement tool, built for creators with perfectly controlled sets, and not a solution for poorly lit rooms. So instead of focusing on how the camera captures the image, let's look at the tools that shape the environment itself. This brings us to support gear. Prosumer lighting from Godox or Neewer, and wireless audio from Hollyland. Outfitting a complete lighting and audio kit from these systems will cost you a fraction of what you'd spend on a single high-end camera body. The results are immediate. You gain vocal clarity, visual separation, and on our chart, these tools shoot to the top half. Moderate financial investment, high visible impact. There is a hidden cost here, physical friction. You have to manage wireless frequencies, charge batteries, and spend time actually learning how to position your lights. That extra setup time can be a hurdle, but it's a temporary one. Once you lock in a workflow, setting up takes minutes. By taking control of the physical environment, you create a level of production value that a new sensor simply cannot replicate on its own. This is where you find the highest return for every dollar spent. There is one final upgrade path, and it is almost always the most ignored option: mastering your workflow and software. This category includes tools like Satellite 3D for planning your setups, alongside DaVinci Resolve and Lightroom for post-production. The investment here isn't cash. The barrier is the hours of focus required to learn complex interfaces and color theory. You map complex shoots, rescue difficult lighting, and on the matrix, software lands firmly in the low financial cost, high time cost area, delivering extremely high visible impact. The trade-off is that software offers no immediate gratification. You don't get the satisfaction of unboxing a new lens, and the learning curve is steep. But hardware loses value the minute you buy it. Software skills do the opposite. They are permanent, compounding assets. Every hour you invest in mastering your software acts as a multiplier. It elevates the output of every piece of gear you own today and every piece you buy in the future. So how do you apply this? Let's use this flowchart to identify your next step based on what's currently holding you back. If you're a budget-conscious beginner, your primary constraint is cash. The flowchart directs you straight to mastering free or low-cost software. Do not fall into the gear trap. Keep your wallet closed and focus entirely on squeezing every ounce of potential out of the camera you already own through better editing and planning. If you are a mid-tier optimizer with a modest budget looking for a high return, your path leads to fixing your environmental control. Use that budget on proper lighting and clean audio. Accept the temporary friction of learning to set up lights and monitor audio levels. The visual gains you'll see are more than worth the effort. Finally, we have the working professional. You already have properly placed lights and clean audio. Your path splits between advanced pre-visualization and a flagship camera upgrade. It's only at this stage, when every other environmental bottleneck has been eliminated, that the high cost of a flagship camera finally aligns with your actual production needs. The ROI framework leads to one conclusion: your camera body is a finishing touch. It should be the absolute last step in your production pipeline, never the first.